My name is Aisha. I was only 18 years old when I got married. In my family, daughters do not say no to their parents. From the time we are small, we are taught that a good daughter listens, obeys, and sacrifices. Love, dreams, freedom, those are luxuries for others, not for girls like me. So, when my father looked at me one evening and said softly, "It's time for you to get married," I did what every obedient daughter does. I smiled. My heart trembled inside my chest, but my lips curved upward as I whispered, "If this makes you happy, then I will say yes." The wedding came and went like a blur of colors and noise. I wore the red dress, the golden jewelry that sparkled under the lights, and the heavy smile everyone expected. People danced, music played, blessings rained down, and I stood there, a quiet bride with a hollow heart. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. I cooked, I cleaned, I smiled, and I played the role of a wife. But deep inside, I felt nothing. I would sit by the window at night, staring at the moon, asking myself, is this all there is to life? To live for others? To follow every rule, every word, every expectation? 2 years passed like this, 2 long, empty years. Then one night, everything changed. It was late. My husband was driving us home from a family dinner. The road was silent and the air smelled faintly of rain. I leaned my head against the window, watching the stars blur past. I felt tired, tired of pretending, tired of being someone else's version of perfect. Then suddenly, the car jerked. The tire screeched against the road. My heart jumped. My husband had fallen asleep at the wheel. Before I could scream his name, the world turned upside down. The car skidded, spun, and tumbled off the road. Metal crashed, glass shattered, and everything went dark. When I opened my eyes, I could hear only one thing, the sound of my own breathing. Pain spread through my body like fire. I tried to move, but I couldn't. My husband had already crawled out of the car and run to safety. I don't blame him for surviving. But I was left there, trapped, broken, and alone. People from a nearby village came running. They pulled me from the wreckage. They didn't know my spine was fractured. As they dragged me across the ground, the pain grew worse. My vision blurred. My world faded to white. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed. Tubes ran across my body. The smell of antiseptic filled the air. My right arm was broken. My wrist was broken. My ribs were broken. My shoulder and collarbone, broken too. But the worst wound was invisible, a deep, silent crack down my spine. I stayed in the hospital for 2.5 months. Those days felt endless. Every night, I lay awake listening to the ticking of the clock, the beeping of the machines, and my own quiet sobs. I stared at the ceiling and whispered, "Why me? Why am I still alive?" One morning, a doctor came to see me. He looked kind, almost nervous. He said gently, "I heard you loved painting, but I'm sorry. You won't be able to paint again." The next day, another doctor came. His voice was firmer. "Your spine is badly injured," he said. "You will not be able to walk again." My lips trembled, but I whispered, "It's all right." But it wasn't. On the 3rd day, the same doctor returned. His eyes looked heavy, almost guilty. "Because of your injuries," he said, "you will not be able to have children." That night, I buried my face into the pillow and cried until I could no longer breathe. The sound of my own sobs filled the empty room. I thought, if I can't walk, can't paint, can't be a mother, what is left of me? I wanted to give up. But deep inside, a small voice whispered, "Don't." A few weeks later, I called my brothers. My voice was weak, but I tried to sound brave. "I know my hands don't work like before," I said. "But I can't keep staring at these white walls. Please bring me some paints and a canvas." They hesitated at first, but the next day, they came. The smell of fresh paint filled the room. My hand shook as I picked up the brush. It felt heavy, like the weight of my own pain. But when I dipped it into color, bright, wild, alive, and made the first stroke, something inside me lit up. Stroke by stroke, I painted my pain. The lines weren't perfect. The shapes were broken. But they were mine. People who passed by my hospital room stopped and stared. "So beautiful," they said. "So bright." They saw the colors. They didn't see the tears that fell onto the canvas. They didn't feel the ache in my back or the storm in my heart. That day, I found my voice again, not through words, but through art. Without saying a single word, I began to tell my story, a story of pain, survival, and quiet courage. And in that moment, I made myself a promise: from now on, I will live for myself, not for others. My first fear was divorce. I worried what people would say, a divorced woman, in a wheelchair, with no children. But I reminded myself, fear lives only in the mind. It cannot control me. So I let him go. When I heard he had married again, I did not cry. I picked up my phone, typed a message, erased it, then typed again, "I am happy for you. I wish you the best." And I meant every word. My second fear was the thought that I could never be a mother. That thought haunted me more than any pain in my body. But one day, I realized something: a child is not only born from the body, a child can also be born from love. So, I decided to adopt. I sent my name to many organizations. 2 long years passed. Then one morning, my phone rang. "There is a baby boy," the voice said. "Would you like to adopt him?" I froze. My heart pounded. Tears filled my eyes. "Yes," I whispered. "Yes, please bring him to me." When I held him for the first time, he was only 2 days old, so tiny, so warm, smelling of milk and life. His little fingers curled around mine, and in that instant, I became a mother. Life in a wheelchair is not easy. The hardest part is not the pain, it's the way people look at you. Pity in their eyes. Fear in their silence. In a world obsessed with perfection, being different can feel like a curse. But I decided I would not hide. I painted more. I began to model for clothing lines that celebrated women of all shapes and abilities. I hosted TV shows. I stood on stages, my wheelchair gleaming under the lights, and spoke about hope, about resilience, about the power of rising again. Every time I was afraid, I reminded myself, I have already faced the worst. And I am still here. Slowly, people began to see me, not the chair, not the broken body, me. And I learned something. When you finally accept yourself, the world begins to accept you too. We all make plans. We think life will follow our script. But life, It doesn't always listen. I never planned this, to live in a wheelchair, to paint with trembling hands, to raise a son alone. But this is my life. And I choose to make it beautiful. People say, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. I say, make lemonade, drink it with a smile, and thank life for still giving you something to hold. It's okay to cry. It's okay to fall apart. But it's not okay to stop living. People often say, failure is not an option. I say the opposite, failure is an option, because when you fail, you learn. And when you rise again, you are stronger than before. So celebrate your life. Every breath, every heartbeat, every morning that still greets you with light. Real happiness is not in perfection. It is in gratitude. As long as you are alive, truly alive, live every single moment fully. Because sometimes, life breaks you apart, only to teach you how to paint your own wings.